Got my mic, check. Face, check. YouTube comedy button, check. Before I begin, I want to preface this video by saying don't go off and harass any of the people mentioned in this video. I think it will be very counterproductive for what I'm trying to do. So yeah. So today I want to talk to you guys about a artist from California. He is a concept artist, former employee of DreamWorks, and his name is Ethan Becker. And I hear a bunch of claims that around his work and about his YouTube channel, and that is that he either traces his work or encourages it, or that he creates drama through all his videos. And I think that's all just a bunch of horse manure. So I hope you're interested enough to keep watching as I debunk these atheists or should I call them art theists. Epic style. That was terrible. So while I'm rambling a bit, I like to show you guys an animation I've been working on in Procreate. It's just fooling around mainly. This is of my this is of one OC I made called Turtle Tammy. Just engaging in some 80s style aerobic session. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. So when I first saw Ethan's videos, I thought they were actually pretty neat little tutorials with a dose of that expert knowledge in the field of say the animation industry. But he's kind of he's kind of chill, but a very he tries to act like a tough guy, at least in the beginning. But you can see that gradually dissipate as he goes into his insights into making art. So I think his persona is meant to be entertaining from what I've seen, and it stands out from what might otherwise be just dry but otherwise drawing instructional videos that are relative to all visual artists alike. Let's say drawing from anatomy. I mean, that's a field you can get pretty academic in. So I say in that respect, he's kind of a breath of fresh air. Personally, I think his angry rant styles at the beginning are pretty silly, but he tends to drop the facade 2 seconds into them, he's just having a laugh, having a go at himself, and his dog too. He likes to include him in his videos. He kind of reminds me of that one anime character, Bandit Keith from Yu-Gi-Oh! He's sort of thuggish, but he sort of has a charm and charisma about him.
You can't beat me because I'm an American!
As for his advice, I think best to remind people that it's based off 5 years in the animation industry, mainly as what he likes to call viz dev, and I wouldn't say that's the entire reason he is good, but it certainly leads credence to his ideas for working more efficiently and to copy from professional artists, as he would say. He mentions all in his videos that in order to produce professional work, you gotta at least know what professional work looks like, and I think that's a pretty good tip anyone should take away. One thing I've heard brought up is his tracing and encouragement of it, when in fact what he's doing isn't in fact copying directly from an image. In his video Stop Tracing, Do This, if you watch the video you can see him trying to break down an image to what is essentially essential about it, using shapes and hard lines in order to find the form and to learn about line quality from the process.
Everybody's gonna be like, whoa, let's just draw all of this stuff in here. Oh, look at all the details. And that, wrong, all right, little babies. What we're gonna do, look, okay, all right, I'm gonna show you a little bit of something here. We're at 1,000 pixels wide. Look at that. This is some low quality stuff. If you want, typically you go higher quality, it's 3,000 to 5,000 wide or something. So we're focusing on the basics. All right, so the most important part is the mask. All right, and I'm gonna draw right over this sucker. Okay, so here's the difference between what I'm doing and tracing. Tracing is doing this. You're following this and you're not really thinking about it. All right, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be doing a draw through. So right now we're finding the mask. We're just following this overall structure. And if you get a good mask on a character, then 90% of your work is done. All right, you don't need to sit there and trace all this. You don't need to get all the details down. All right, so this is the mask. This is essentially all that you really need. All right, we're just gonna do a little bit of circle here because this is the socket that the eye is gonna sit in. Let's see if I got that right. Let's see. Nope, not right at all. All right, let's see what I did wrong there. It was over there. It actually needs to lay right there. Okay, you see what I did there? I did something wrong. I tried it out and I assessed the problem. And now I know, where I went wrong. At this point, I'm just straight up drawing over the picture. All right, I'm trying to learn from this process. All right, said it once, I'll say it a billion times, because you little babies, you just don't understand. God, you little babies. You don't understand the importance of the mask. He's got a strong jaw here. I'm gonna kind of emphasize that. I'm just gonna do a very confident line, just straight down.
In his own words, he explains how actual tracing can have no thought behind it and looks pretty stiff in comparison to what he is discovering, creating a mask and breaking down the shapes so that it is specifically his own thing. And I think if I were to do this process myself, I would come up with a completely different result. I think the important thing to remember is not to reproduce the whole image because you could run into some legal trouble in the future, but tracing is definitely a tool in this way to understand shape and even lighting in order to create a mood. Successful artists that come to mind for me include Tim Bradstreet and Shepard Fairey. Of course, there's discussion to be had around ownership of IP and the misuse of copyrighted material. I think this exercise is pretty useful for breaking down styles and to understand better how a character will look from every angle. Now back to that thing I mentioned about his aggressive video style and how he's roasting all these other professional artists that are supposedly better than him, one would say. Yes, that is apparent in his videos, but in reality the supposed drama he generates in his bits never really goes anywhere, probably because they understand he's just joking. Some final thoughts on this subject. There's definitely something to be discussed about creators playing up their personality. Others may find it distracting, while others are drawn to these types of people because they tend to show enthusiasm for their craft. Both views are valid. Personally, with some YouTubers, especially ones that I find adopt this influencer persona, can seem quite insincere at times. Although Ethan doesn't really strike me as fostering a parasocial relationship with his audience, because he often gives out these challenges that serve as a call to action to his followers on Instagram. But I'd be open to hear arguments from the opposite angle on that topic. I do have my own art gripes with him personally, but maybe I'll talk about that in a different video. If I had to say one thing, when I looked at this one post from his Instagram, I noticed he created this light source on the right hand side, but it doesn't seem to affect the form he's trying to show. And I know he's considered the lighting in this image. I don't really understand how it would make sense. So yeah, I hope I managed to basically destroy these art theist arguments against Ethan Becker. You think you're so big. You think you're so tough. You come into my house, insult my dog, or in this case I actually have a cat. The point really remains, that's pretty fucked up, dude, that you go into my house and